So this is it, the final game of the season. Everything riding on it. Could be Champions League, could be Europa, or could be Conference. All we know for sure is Forest have to win. Welcome to my preview for Forest versus Chelsea. Good morning, good evening, or good night. I hope you guys are doing well. And welcome to the preview for Forest versus Chelsea. Coming up, I'm going to talk you through Nuno's presser, talk through who's fit, who's injured, the solutions we're waiting for, and how this game is going to be won or lost. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you're new to FFTV. Don't forget, tonight at 6 p.m, we've got the final Run It In, where we're going to be talking to our YouTube mates involved in this fight and see how they think it's all going to end up. So let's get started and let's start with the injuries. So Nuno talks about Taiwo. Taiwo's up and about, I think he said, and, hopefully on his road to a full recovery. The team is still treating him as part of the bond. He was asked would he be at the City ground this weekend, and he couldn't really say anything on that. So good news on Taiwo as he continues his recovery. The other one that was discussed was Murillo. So Murillo hasn't trained all week according to Nuno, but he is being assessed for the game. Whether or not he's going to be a starter, Nuno wasn't very clear on it. However, what I would say is he starts, in my opinion. I haven't seen the team sheet. I don't know what the team sheet is going to be, but the fact that they've rested him up so he's ready, he's young, he doesn't need really day in, day out, fitness sessions and all that. He's good enough to just get on that pitch and do his thing. So I fully expect Murillo to start. If he doesn't, man, then we've got some serious questions to ask on who replaces him. He also mentioned there are some other niggles. I think maybe he's talking about Callum Hudson-Odoi still not looking 100% fit. So whether or not he starts will be questionable as well. So that was the news he gave from there. Nuno, in terms of him, was looking very, very loose, very relaxed, talking about enjoying the game, not thinking about the pressure, those kind of usual kind of manager sound bites that you get. But you could see in his body language that he was quite relaxed and looking good on everything. They did also, finally some decent questions, they did also ask him about the links to Roma and whether or not there's any truth in it. And he just straight up dismissed it. He said, do you think I would be distracted with talks on that in this week? So technically he didn't dismiss it, but he did say it's not on his concern list right now. He's obviously fully focused on the Forest match, which is exactly what I wanted to hear. So all positive signs coming out of the presser. He's saying the right things. He's talking, good talk as well. It's now down to the players to perform on the pitch. So let's jump across to the team sheet. All right, so this is the team that started last week, not necessarily in this formation, because what it felt to me was more of a midfield three, where you had Dominguez slotting here on the right-hand side, which I actually really like. In fact, I'd go a step further and say I quite like this midfield three. Sangare doing his thing, Dominguez doing the kind of legwork around him, and Anderson doing Anderson things. I like that. And then with the two in front of him, you kind of saw a bit of a switch. Sometimes Elanga was on the left, sometimes he was on the right. Same with Gibbs-White, kind of playing in behind. And Gibbs-White was doing a lot of the press triggering as well against West Ham. So technically speaking, if you're going to put it on paper, you would have said it's the old Christmas tree formation, the 4-3-2-1, with back four of Williams, Murillo, Milenkovic and Einar, followed up with Anderson, Sangare and Dominguez, Morgan, Gibbs-White and Elanga in the 10 or the wide wingers, and then Cristiano Woodinho up front. I don't think he changed too much. I think maybe one of the questions Nuno will have, obviously, is the Murillo one. Who would come in and replace? Would it be Morato? I just wouldn't. I don't know. If Bolly's fit, I'd chuck Bolly in. I really would. Maybe even Zach Abbott. To start Morato for me has been at his best when he's come on as a closer with 15 to 20 minutes to go, something like that. Forest are winning. go to the back three and kind of take it from there. But look, I don't want to bring any negative vibes into today because we have to focus and we have to make sure we're up for this one so that the players are up for it. So I'm quite happy to start with that team. The only thing I think for consideration is if Callum Hudson-Odoi is fully fit, how does he then incorporate him into this starting 11? Because I think Dominguez has been very good for the last 2 weeks, maybe even a bit longer actually. And then how would you fit it in? Would you drop one of the front three, be it a Gibbs-White, an Elanga or a Wood? I can't see that. So the person that would have to come out would be someone from the midfield three, probably changing it into a midfield two. So for argument's sake, let's just say Dominguez was to be the one sacrificed, which I would be against. You'd then see us switching into a 4-2-3-1 with Callum Hudson-Odoi coming onto the left-hand side. I don't mind it, but I'm not a massive fan of it, especially if Dominguez is coming out. I don't think you can drop Dominguez. I really don't. I think he's going to stick to this team here, the midfield three, the Christmas tree formation, and then maybe bring Callum Hudson-Odoi as a bit of a, as the guy who's going to score the winner against his old club. Imagine. But if I'm being honest, Callum Hudson-Odoi hasn't looked in sensational form in the last few outings that he's had, probably since the Man City game. But he has had an injury and I guess is not fully match fit just yet. So don't risk it for me and go with this. Chelsea have got a solid midfield. They've got Caicedo in there, potentially Lavio in there. Enzo Fernandez has had a decent season as well. So we got to have three in midfield. I think that's a non-negotiable. Because of the quality they have there, even if Caicedo potentially plays right back, he still then inverts into the midfield. And then they try to get the overload with Sideshow Bob on the left-hand side, Cucurella, who comes into the midfield and then somehow ends up in the box and is probably their top goal scorer in recent weeks. So I do not think it's an option not to overload that midfield, and we must play that three in the middle, be compact, and then hit them on the counter-attack. But that's the team I'd go with, subject to fitness, and obviously Murillo would be the main questionable one there. But do you guys agree with that team or not? Let me know in the comments. So how does this game play out? This has been a discussion we've been having all week. Forest have to win. Chelsea, you can say like 80% need to win, but to make sure they get over the line, they need a win as well. So both teams technically have to go for the win to ensure they have a shot at Champions League football next season. If Forest win, come what may, we're in the Europa. If we draw or lose, it's potentially going to be conference, and then wait till Chelsea next week when they play Betis to see what our fate is. So the game for me plays out like this. Forest will not go for it off the bat. I think maybe we see like 5 minutes of kind of jousting between the two teams. Then the game settles into a pattern where we're giving Chelsea the ball and then looking to create pockets in behind them to create those counter-attacking plays where we can be so dangerous. And I think that is the right way to approach it. Now, what I don't want to see is 10 men in our own box defending and then punting it clear straight to the centre-backs at Chelsea, who can then start their next attack from there. So for me, it's important that it's a mid-block with counter-attack ambitions in there. And if we can get 1-0 up, then fine, low block your backsides all the way to the finish line. I don't really care. But we got to take the lead. And Forest have been dangerous when we've taken the lead. The big worry and big question for me is what happens if we go behind? Will Nuno change it up? So far this season, we haven't seen much of that, especially if we've gone behind early doors or what have you. He seems to stick to the plan and then maybe towards the end changes it. But if we go behind, we have to score 2 goals. So the most important thing in this whole game is that Forest take the lead, because I don't want to be in a scenario where we need 2 goals. That for me is game over for us. We may get back to drawing, but to get 2 goals could be a bit of an ask. In terms of Chelsea, the players to watch out for, Cucurella is probably currently their most informed player. You got Caicedo, who's been an absolute beast all season for them. He has been inverting from right back, but James is back and available. So maybe you see James being the right back who inverts into the midfield. Either way, what you're going to see is 1 or 2 of these fullbacks inverting in to try and create an overload in the midfield for Chelsea. But their issue is really 2 things. They do not have a number 9, with sorry Miss Jackson suspended for this game. There is Nkunku is back and available, so they could use him, but his form has been poor all season. We may see a false 9 in Neto going up front. So that's an issue for them. And also their other big issue is their keeper. This keeper, who hasn't had a bozo moment for a couple of games, is well overdue one. He did have a decent game against Forest at Stamford Bridge, as did Sells. So it's a case of, can Forest put him under pressure and can he make a silly pass? But the way he makes his most mistakes is when he's up against a high-pressing team who forces a mistake, and I'm not convinced we will play it that way. So those are all the scenarios that could and might happen in the game. In terms of what happens in the overall picture, a very quick reminder, Forest have to win, and either Newcastle, Villa or both have to drop points against respectively Everton or Manchester United. If that scenario plays out, Forest make Champions League. If Forest do not win this, then Europa is the best we can do, and probably Conference League is our fate. But let's not get to the scenario, and this is the one that worries me, where Forest lose and then Villa or Newcastle drop points. And then we really will be kicking ourselves because it was in our hands yet again. How do you guys see this game going? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to predict a 2-0 win to Chelsea because that's what I did against West Ham. And you guys will kill me if I don't do that. So I'll go 2-0 Chelsea. But if you know what that means, you know. So get your predictions in down below as well. If you haven't already, please take a quick second. Make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you're new. We're back live at 6 p.m. with the run-in. Let's see what the rest of the boys have to say about that. And this is it, the final weekend of the Premier League. Let's get it over the line and let's hear that Champions League anthem at the City grounds next season. We'll see you at 6. Come on, you Reds.